And good afternoon and welcome everyone. And today we have also got participants who are external to the University of Nottingham, Malaysia, including those from the Ministry of Education and some international schools in Malaysia. So welcome to the session. And before we start, please mute your microphones and please feel free to turn on your camera so that the speakers can see all of you. This is already the 9th workshop in the Innovations in ELT workshop series. And I think many of you who have joined this series will have known that this workshop series is initiated by our late Professor Dr. Gana Kumaran Subramaniam, the former head of school in University of Nottingham, Malaysia. If you look at the way in which the series is structured, then you will see that Prof. Gana had tried to cover a wide range of topics in relation to ELT, not just from the local perspectives, but also the international ones. Therefore, in this series, we have discussed with speakers around the world about 21st century ELT materials, teaching and learning, assessments, and also how these different aspects in education have changed during the pandemic. And I believe this series has really enriched students' knowledge and their exposure to what is really out there in education and ELT development globally. I think one of the things that the pandemic has done to us is that it created an opportunity, or maybe we can say that it prompted educators to make changes to teaching that have been in the works for a long time. And one of the examples is personalized learning, an approach that allows learners to learn at a different pace and in different ways. So today we will look at how bespoke or customized e-learning resources can cater for different needs of learners for personalized learning, leading to autonomous learning and more effective teaching and learning. So on behalf of Professor Gana, I would like to welcome and thank the speakers to support the University of Nottingham, Malaysia and School of Education and their generosity in sharing their knowledge and expertise with our students. And thank you again, Keith, for supporting Professor Dr. Gana's initiative. We have two speakers today. The first speaker is Johnson Chong. Welcome, Johnson.
Thank you.
Johnson Johnson is currently the Executive Director at Malaysiana LCMS. It is an education consulting firm that offers learning content management systems to help organizations grow bigger daily. He is a lawyer, a social entrepreneur, and also someone with very rich experience in education. He was the head of School of Business and Law at KDU University College and the lead consultant at Scope Group working on several projects on education. He was also the Parent Engagement Director at GEMS International School, Penang, and he worked as Director of Corporate Affairs at the Fairview Education Group. Welcome, Johnson.
Thank you.
And our second speaker is David Choo. He is the Digital Business Manager for UBSM. And I think you're very familiar with him because he presented at one of our sessions earlier. And as Dr. Gana said, UBSM is synonymous to higher education in this country. Because those days, if anyone thought of getting any books in any disciplines, then the first thing they'll think of is UBSM. They are market leaders in innovations and materials, and they provide access to materials to teachers and institutions. David is an expert in digital management. He is a product specialist and trainer for global brands like Britannica Online Learning, National Geographic Virtual Library, and so on. He brings a wealth of work experience into the education industries. These two speakers will share with us two bespoke learning resources. One is BKSB and another is PressReader. So without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to the speakers. So now let's proceed with David's presentation. Over to you, David. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for waiting to the last one. My name is David Choo. Okay, I work for the University of Malaysia. Today, I would like to present the Press Readers program to you all. Let me share my screen first. Today, basically, we will talk about one of the key products that we in university bookstores have all these years, okay, which is basically what we call Press Reader. So before I start off, a lot of times when I was young, at the time, my family members, we want to improve our English. My family members will ask me to read the New Straits Times. During those days when we were in secondary schools, my family members would buy a lot of the New Straits Times every day and ask us to sit down and read, which at the time we don't understand what is the reason about it. But coming forward to today's, educations and industrializations, then from there I realized that what is the meaning of reading a newspaper, which is so important in today's world. Of course, coming to here, you can see one of the quote by Herbert Bayard Swoop. What he said that is the first duty of a newspaper is to be accurate. So if it is be accurate, it follows that it is fair. So this is basically what we meant in terms of if you want something that is basically accurate, then that is most important thing. How do you attain it in that area itself? So press reader, okay, what it is, basically press reader is a platform where we have around 7,000 over publication houses in that system itself, over 120 countries. We have around 60 over plus languages, which is basically tabulated into that platform itself, where the, users are able to access into the area itself. So in terms of the products, the features itself, all right, okay. Press readers, how does it work? Okay, basically what it does is you have that kind of a personal delivery where you can read and download into your device of your choice, all right? What it does is basically, if you have a laptop or you have a mobile, you can download the apps and then you have access into the area. In the system itself, and of course, a lot of the publications, the different languages, you can also basically translate other languages to the 70 languages that you can choose from, so that you have that understanding what other countries are writing about in the newspapers. And of course, we also do have that so-called the built-in audio, where you can listen to the articles if you are busy and on the go, which is quite good for those who want to learn English and how to basically pronounce some of the keywords that is in the publication, novelty itself. In our platform, okay, we do have our share with the social system, okay, where you can share it through Facebook's, LinkedIn, emails with your other fellow teachers and lecturers itself, and of course, students. And of course, in every articles in Press Reader, okay, the articles you can put in your comments, and then of course you can publish it into your own account. When let's say, for example, you have a classrooms with lecturers who discuss in certain articles. A lot of them, even some of the professors around the world that uses Press Reader, they use this to practice their journalism. And of course, a lot of them, they will, use this comment to engage with the students in their activities itself. Press Readers does come in current, all right? A lot of times, if you look at some certain platforms, they do not basically publish their reports or their, news on the spot. But with Press Reader itself, you will get the current day's resources in there once the print is fresh out on the other side of the world itself. So you get an instant, information at your fingertips. Now, of course, you have the full content of the publication, publications, newspapers and magazines, in where you can also print out the articles if you want in that area itself. We do have all the locals and internationals publications. And a lot of times we are working together with others that is coming in so that they can participate into the press readers platform itself. So the key is basically technology. A lot of times people discuss about how do you deliver, okay, in terms of news, informations throughout the how to call it online resources itself. We basically work together with quite a lot of our key publishers. If you look at here, we have the Guardians, New York Post, Times, and the rest is basically Business Weekly, which later on, once this event is finished, I will basically set up a trial account for the University of Nottingham. Now, a lot of times people discuss, what in terms of the value of the trusted information that is given. All right. If you look at in here, right, we noticed that from our research, 7 out of 10 countries, they're worried about fake news being used as a weapon of destructions around the world. And a lot of the countries, they know that 63% of people who don't know how to recognize good news from fake news is very alarming. Over the past years, trust in mass media has decreased something from basically like Facebook's, Twitter, and Instagram, where a lot of times people have the freedom of putting out news of their own, creating their own, features, and blasting it out to the public itself, which is quite scary in that area. So from there, we can find that the trust in journalism has increased, and a lot of people move into looking other ways of getting the right news in hand. Country like Singapore will introduce a new law to counter fake news, where it is very important for that small little country. Hopefully, there's no Singaporean here, but of course, with that country itself, they are able to control a lot of things in their hands. A country like Germany also will fine businesses for not removing fake news in their platform if it's been found out, and which is something like this, which helps the world a better place to fine-tune the essence of getting the right news in the area itself. Now, a lot of times people say that, then why is it the difference between press reader and me looking at the online website, which they also publish the news, in the area. To tell you the truth, okay, with the quote here, what's printed in ink cannot be erased. So meaning that if you look at it, a lot of times when publishers, when they want to put in the print, they will have to go through stringently into all of the articles and to see if it's basically correct, if it's in good news, and it have a very good comprehensive grammatic English in that manner itself. So from there, once they already established that background ready, okay, then only they will send it to the printer to print, because once that's already print, it cannot be taken away from there. On the other hand, if you look at online, whatever you post, you can take it out. So that is quite scary in terms of providing that kind of resources in that manner itself. So that's why Press Reader holds well strong the foundation of having all of their publishers in these platforms. So if you look at it, libraries, a lot of them, they will look at in terms of trust, all right, okay? And Press Reader can provide that trust, okay, in the content of from the publishers, who have to put their content through an editorial processes first. Then only basically they can basically publish it out to that area itself. Now, there's another thing, nothing comes free. A lot of people will say that. In terms of, you look at it, okay, everyone must learn at the first time, learn it right at the first time, sorry. All right. So in terms of, you look at the vented content, okay, our editorial board basically will go through the editorial process, and then they will look at the trusted resources in the most trusted publishers, and then place it into the platform itself. In terms of the global aspects, we also value the multiple perspective from all over the world. We look at basically in that direction. And of course, the most important thing, when we deal with a lot of this publishing in sites, we are basically looking at bias-free. So in terms of bias-free, we are not basically upheld by shareholders. So no shareholders will have a per se, in our organizations. So we have our limits to our editorial bias throughout the region itself. So in terms of access point, of course, press reader you can access through the web. If you download the apps, you can do that. And of course, we do have the physical print on demand if you wanted to. And of course, in looking at the platform itself, you can also print out the articles, of your own yourself. So how does it work? Press Reader's Hotspot. Let's say, for example, you have an event in University of Nottingham. Your patrons can get unlimited access over 7,000 over premium newspapers and magazines as soon as they step through your doors. Which is what they do is we will geofence the hotspot in your location, and those who downloaded their apps, they are able to connect either to the library Wi-Fi, or they can basically use their own account, in their access, and able to just download into their devices already, which is very, very simple. So one good thing about the platforms is that the press reader can help patrons to find the relevant articles, credible resources, informations to, let's say, for example, they want to back up their research. We have a metadata at the back, which we can do the research upon in the area itself or whatever they want to look for. And of course, we also offer quality content, more than 120 countries in over 60 different languages. So for students all over the world who are staying connected, they are able to look at their local newspapers, back home in the area. But of course, best of all, you can access how they want that, on the library computers or even on their personal devices. Simple as that. So what makes Press Reader different? All right. So the delivery methodology is there. All right. It's at the tip of your hand. All right. It basically, if you look at it, more than just the mechanical side, it replicates the real newspapers and magazines that is printed. You can do in terms of looking at it in text view. We have the digital features, which is in the platform itself. And then, of course, we have the research and informational tools in the platform built in for easy access and use. And if you look at it in terms of having your personal experience, it can be basically in your mobile, your tablets, or your PC. Because in the market, 73% of the users use a tablet or a mobile for news consumption from the research. So you can also activate the auto download. If, let's say, for example, if you key in your favorite topics, what happens is that Press Reader's metadata will pull in the keywords of the day that you're looking for. All right, then it will basically download into your device for you to read. Of course, having 7,000 and 150 countries of news, it's very hard to fathom, especially having this product in hand. For example, when I wake up in the morning, sitting on the throne and not knowing the time has passed when you read the newspaper, it gives you a very sore ass anyway, basically from there. So engaging and interactive personal experience. Of course, like I said, you can also do your comments. You can discuss, let's say, certain topics in the newspapers or articles or magazines with your lecturers or your fellow colleagues. And then, you know, at least you can share basically comments in the area professionally in the area. So it's not like Facebook, which is basically non-viable in that area. So single subscription, of course, there's unlimited access. You can see here, 3,000 over newspapers, 4,000 over magazines, and 120 countries. And then, of course, with the 60-word language, okay, it's not just content, but it is a research and enhancement marketing tool for all institutes in itself. Because with this, with the, how do you call it, hotspot, every time when certain organizations or people, individuals that pass by your areas, they're able to open the hotspots and they will be able to see where press reader is established or subscribed in the area itself. So you will get that kind of marketing segmentation in the area itself. So last and not least, I want to basically share with you my last quote, okay, of the day. Beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance, by George Bernard Shaw. So today, I will basically end my session. Thank you very much for listening in, and I will take any questions from the floor then.
Thank you very much, David. Any questions from the floor?
I think there are a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay, right. So subscribe press reader, subscribe. Okay, so when you subscribe press reader and subscribe it to all these different newspapers, yes, once the institutes subscribe the press reader, you will have access to all of the newspapers and magazines in the platform itself. Okay. Live demo, I will not try that because I do apologize. I'm just worried that the line will be quite, tedious on the system itself. But I will assure you, I will set up a trial account for the University of Nottingham. And then from there, you all can, play with it even better from there. So another question is from Sabrina Ng. I'm quite curious, this can go to all speakers. Since all of this is taken place with the assistance of AI computer, what is your role as an employee of UBSM? So on so forth. If you don't mind me asking, I'm quite curious about job scopes in companies such as this. Well, this one, let me see now. Let me see, let me digest that since all this taking place.
Hey, David, yeah. Maybe you think about that last question, but I just so happen I turn on my press reader app. Maybe I can show a quick live demo so that people can see press reader. Yes, if you don't mind, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, if you stop sharing. Yeah, Johnson, thank you. If you can, because the line here in the office is a bit unstable anyway, so.
No problem. So press reader is something that I use almost every day to catch up with the news. Can you see the screen? Yeah. So this is a screen where I have downloaded something to read. So this is today's newspaper, The Star. So, I mean, I don't know how many people still buy newspapers these days. I don't. In fact, I don't even look at the Star online. But you can see that I have the entire newspaper here, every single page. Now, of course, it looks a bit small, right? But if I wanted to, I just double click and I will have a much closer look at the particular news item, right? So I double click again and it goes back out. But of course, you're in Malaysia. Hey, I have access to the whole world. Why do I want to just look at Malaysian publications? So you can actually go to different publications. Okay, so let's say this one is, the filter is more in terms of language. That was the Chinese one. But if you want to go to different countries, here you can see on the screen itself, there is Guardian from the UK, Globe and Mail from Canada, Now, all these are newspapers because I have just now limited it to category of newspapers. But if you can also look at magazines, sorry, this is not magazines. Yeah, you can also look at magazines, all right? All sorts of magazines. So this is quite popular for especially the young men out there who like gadgets. So you can see these are the things that I have previously read. So they keep coming up, right? And you can bookmark things. So there's all sorts of things. And just now, David was saying the system itself also will pick stories for you that through your previous usage that you have read, so that you get things that are more relevant to you. So you can just jump right into it. But that was just a quick show of a few screens and features. I hope that helps.
Thanks, Johnson. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Johnson.
My pleasure.
So to answer Sabrina Ng's question, all right, if I read it correctly, okay, of course, you talk about, with the assistance of AIs and all this computer, our role in University Bookstore Malaysia is to promote the products and to engage with lecturers, students, people outside, what we have in the market itself. A lot of times there's so many products that are out there, but a lot of them do not know, number one, are they good? How do they use this for their daily life? And as a lecturer and as a student, you don't have that time, all right? So this is where we, from our organizations, come in to assist you all and, present this product to you and saying that, hey, these are the products that you can help you to establish your foothold, your, your thesis, your professions, in the future, that what you want. So that is basically, from our side, our role in that area. I hope, Sabrina Ng, I answer your question from there.
David, there's another question on the chat. Does Press Reader allow individual subscription?
Yes, thanks, Johnson. Yes, basically Press Reader does anyway, Ken Lee. But one thing is it's going to be very, very expensive. So most importantly is that you basically work together in the institutes, okay? Get the institutes to basically subscribe that. That will be much, much better, as buying it individually. Because one, I think it's about $2,000 US per subscription per year. So if the institutes it buys this, okay, number one, the institute can use this as a marketing tool. Number two, you have, you don't have to worry about in terms of accessing, because, you go through the University of Nottingham itself, all right, okay. So from there, you get more information out of having that individual aspect itself in the area. Okay.
Any other questions?
Maybe I'll share a little bit more about Press Reader. Actually, Press Reader is a very powerful tool. The thing is that, say if you're doing university research, for example, you are in the cancer department, oncology department, and so happen that you are researching on something like breast cancer. So on Press Reader itself, you key in the word breast cancer, you'll probably have few thousand articles coming out on that. But if you choose to limit it to the last 3 days, probably there'll be 500 articles all around the world that discusses about breast cancer, who has written, who has been doing what type of research. You can actually contact the person who write the article itself. It's really, really powerful. Now, like 2-3 years back when Parliament was asking us, hey, what is the rest of the world talking about 1MDB? So all the researchers don't know what the heck to do. How do I go into the Paris newspaper, the UK newspaper, and so on to talk about 1MDB? But when you key in press reader 1MDB, all the news of the world that has appeared on 1MDB is aggregated. There are probably 12,000, 13,000 news that's aggregated. But then again, when it comes to press, is whoever rule the government of the day will have the right of say, because the rest of the world, all major newspaper or country newspaper depends on the national news agency. Like when Bernama sent out the news to the whole world, that will be treated as the accurate news of the whole world. All right. Now, those of you who does business, you just download Forbes alone. It costs 60 ringgit, you get it free. If you are in Australia airport or so, it's like say if you fly Qantas, 2 hours before you board, you can download as many newspapers and magazines as you like. There's also a technology which we call geofencing. Like say, if Nottingham were to subscribe, anybody in Semuanya town that drives near your university, they will get newspaper and magazine. The whole entire neighborhood will be blessed. If you drive past the National Library of Malaysia, even you're having a traffic jam in Jalan Tun Razak, right? You can actually download as many newspaper and magazine as you like. All right. Now, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia alone, there's 92 newspapers and magazines from Malaysia alone. If you go to UK or you want to know about UK since you're studying a UK program, right? You on the UK magazines and newspaper, there's close to 700 over newspapers and magazines from UK alone. It's really amazing. And you can create the news, like say, if you're English students, you can key in English learning. If you have a special interest in teaching maths, you can key in maths. So every morning when you wake up, all the news that happen in the world will be aggregated and personalized to what you want to consume for what country, for which aspect, for which segment actually. This is the era of big data. It's personalized to you and what you want to read because there's an information overload everywhere. All right. I think David will arrange for your whole university. You download as many magazines as you want. And after that, you don't need internet connectivity already. It's already on your tablet or your phones and so on. It will remain there all the time. All right.
Okay, thank you, Keith. There is a question from RR. So is there any data on how effective press reader is in teaching and learning?
Well, for press reader, okay, RR, we don't have that data, okay, but we do have the statistics at the back. So every month you can download the statistics and you can see in the institute itself how many people are reading what publications, what articles, and all this in that area. So from there, I think with that kind of a data itself, at least you know that in the institute itself, how many people are interested in certain topics that is in the market. But the teaching methodology and learning, if you want, okay, once you all subscribe to trial, I can basically go through with you how to use the tools and everything in the system itself, so that you're custom with. Then you can basically try it out in your classrooms or in your institute itself or your faculty.
All right. Okay. So Ara said, thank you. Any other questions? I think Arati has a question. Do we have something like this for journal articles? Oh, okay. Keith has answered. Like Britannica has. Okay, right.
And there's also Gale, right, Keith, which is even more extensive. That's a different platform.
That's why, as I said, each time we organize a talk like this, right, we really got the publisher to come in and sponsor you already. All you need to do is just make the request. Like you say, one press reader, like each one of you can walk away with a few thousand ringgit worth of newspaper and magazine on your devices. So once you make the request, David will tell Press Reader HQ, okay, we sponsor Nottingham for a year. For a month. You can download anything you want. Like say you want to decorate your house or decorate your dorm, you can actually download all the designer magazine. You want to, redesign your fashion, what you want to wear, what perfume to wear, what kind of plastic surgery you want to do. You have everything there. You like Japanese architecture, you download the Japanese architecture newspaper or magazine. You don't know how to read, click translate. It can translate over 60 languages. So it's all there. Like probably the next semester we may do other stuff like Britannica, where we share with you like 2,800 over journals is all there inside, free, with New York Times, BBC, ABC, everything is also there. Now, Gail, as we did a session a few weeks back, right? Gail alone owns 26 companies, all right? And National Geographic is one of the 26 companies they own. Which company you want, we can get them to do the presentation for you as well, actually. Like Britannica, they own 7 or 8 companies. They own like, what I call it, math, science. They also own the largest picture database in the world, where you have 50 of the largest picture house in the world, like Getty's Image, National Geographic, all this BK. Depends on what you need. Even the Webster Dictionary, you can talk an hour about Webster Dictionary. The 7 websites, the functions of what you can do with the new way of accessing dictionaries, all those you can just make the request. I'll fix it for you and get the people to present for you.
Thank you so much, Keith. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know about the opportunities and the tips on how we can get access to these wonderful platforms. There are no questions, so I would like to thank Keith, thank Johnson and David for today's presentation, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.